a prompt that might pop up. All right, so welcome to today's class. We're going to be talking all about how you can learn to overcome what is commonly called imposter syndrome, but I'm going to explain a little bit more about what that is and how important it is for you to be able to overcome this. Give me 1 second. I have some slides that I want to share because I know that that makes it easier for us to be able to do stuff. Um, and then while I'm getting everything set up, can you just let me know if you can see and hear me okay? Just type yes or give me a thumbs up in the description box here or the chat box here. All right. All right, I think we are all good to go here. All right, let's get the screens shared. We're gonna go here and share this. Here are our slides. And let me go into present mode so it's big enough for you. And then we're gonna get started. All right, let's talk about overcoming imposter syndrome. I want to first calibrate as to what imposter syndrome really means, because I'm going to have a controversial stand that I will explain toward the middle of this conversation. But just for the purposes of us understanding that we are all talking about the same thing, particularly because when I started talking about this class, a lot of people didn't even know what this was. Just want us to understand that if you have ever heard a negative voice of self-doubt in your head, or that voice that it kind of is on repeat and replay and is making you feel like you aren't good enough, or let's say you have accomplished something big in your life and it commonly makes you feel like you're fake or just got lucky, or how did you even get here? That voice is what society today commonly calls imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome are those feelings of anxiety and fear and self-doubt that you feel from time to time, especially if you are starting to or wanting to go out of your comfort zone. And so I want to teach you about this because when I'm working individually with my clients, a lot of them suffer from this and they miss out on opportunities, both financial and professional, in their life. So I've got some little known tips and tricks to share with you today that are going to help you understand more about imposter syndrome so that you can learn how to nip it in the bud. Again, if you have not known who I am, I've been doing this work for a long time, but you may be new to me. And so you're going to learn some things that are going to blow your mind. They're going to be deep, but you have to come into this class with an open heart and an open mind. And I also ask that you give yourself this investment and turn off everything that's in the background, the phone, the millions of tabs, all of the things, because it's time for you to give yourself the opportunity to discover some new strategies. And if you don't know me, a little bit about me is maybe about, I would say, 15 years ago, I had noticed that in leadership, leaders were struggling. And so I particularly started off working with individuals, leaders that wanted to be high performers and wanted to reconnect to themselves in order to become high performers. And now, specifically because I've been a nurse for, I don't know, maybe like going on 20 years, and been in leadership positions all the way from an officer in the Navy to where I am now with my own business. I've had a lot of experience and done a lot of research about what it takes to be somebody that can be a leader, and not only in your professional life and in your personal life, and do it in a way where you don't feel stressed, where you don't feel burnt out, where you are not imbalanced, even if the world around you is chaotic. So I don't want to get too much on me, but that's just the background. And you can learn more about me at yashikalin.com. So today's agenda, even though I'm giving you information about how to overcome that negative voice in your head that keeps holding you back, it really is about challenging the status quo. What I'm trying to do, what I want you to do is learn to think differently, because half of leaders are not stressed. They are crushing it. They have balance. They don't feel overwhelmed. One of my clients came to me. She's been a leader for 15 years and decided she wanted to just give up and walk away. You don't have to do that. So there is a way to challenge yourself, whether it's taking a tiny step in your life or taking a big step in your life, or if you're already a leader, doing it in a way that you don't feel stressed in spite of it all. So if 50% of people can do it right, and you're not part of that 50%, what I want you to do is not listen to what I'm saying and automatically think that what I'm saying is wrong. What I want you to do is challenge yourself to listen to what I'm saying and think differently. Albert Einstein, we probably have all heard that, said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you go deeper into the context of that statement, he believed that there are hidden aspects of reality that are not recognized within a conventional formulation. Now, of course, he was talking about quantum theory, but this applies to you, right? Because things that happen on a small scale happen on a big scale. That's just something we all know from life. So how does this apply to you? Are you in your life, just examine it for a second, professionally and personally, showing up day in and day out, doing the same thing over and over again with the same mindset in the same environment, with the same old goals, and nothing is changing? However, you can't understand why the stress, the anxiety, and the self-doubt won't go away, or why you aren't progressing. Or for some of us, it's just this one little area that we continue to struggle in, but why that doesn't change. And so I want you to understand that it may not be that the things that you know to do are right or wrong. What 99% of the time is the issue is that you are not recognizing that there are hidden aspects to your success and to what's going on in your world that you are missing. So, are you happy with your results? Are you happy with the way that you think? Are you happy with your environment? Because the way that we think formulates the way that we show up in the world. It formulates the way that we impact the people around us through our energy, through our beliefs, through our attitude. And that is how we act in the world. And then that dictates the results that we get. And so for those of you that are here today and those of you that are watching the replay, you are in the right place if you want to have a guide that's going to teach you how to reboot your mind and your future so that you can get rid of these feelings. You're going to learn tips of overcoming self-doubt, or of not thinking that you deserve your success. You're going to learn how to feel better about yourself with a more improved outlook and have more self-confidence. By the end of this class, you should understand how to improve your performance, increase your confidence, and create and go after more opportunities and stop holding yourself back, and be able to understand what it truly takes for you to have satisfaction, not only in your career, but also in your life, because these things are interchangeable. So if you don't have the results that you want, I want you to start to question. This is part of challenging our status quo, is what is it that's stopping you? And the number one thing that people do when they're not experiencing what they want in their outer world, their career, their life, their relationships, is we've been taught from our training, especially our clinical training, is to look for the cause of something so that we can fix it. And that's how we've been conditioned to think that the whole world relates and acts and how we can, make change in our world at large, but that's truly not how it works. If you really want to change things in your life, it does start with you thinking about your thoughts and your feelings, and how your thoughts and your feelings cause you to show up in that certain way I talked about. And then your actions from your thoughts and your feelings producing those same results over and over again. And you probably struggle in a certain area of life because of that. And most of the people that come work with me are struggling because of that as well. And the reality is that you will continue to feel the feelings of self doubt and personal incompetence that will persist despite how much education you get, the experience you have, because we all are smart. We all have the education. We paid for it. We worked hard for it. We all have the experience. We all have the accomplishments. Even if you try to outwork people, you will still have these feelings of self doubt and incompetence because of some of the things that I say. And if you think that working harder and holding yourself to even higher standards is the answer to you overcoming this doubt and this feeling of personal incompetence or feeling like you're lucky, then all you're going to end up doing is taking a toll on yourself, both emotionally and physically. And then your performance suffers because what you end up doing is burning yourself out. Or and burnout, we tend to think of all the stuff that we've been going through over the past few years in healthcare in general, just moving at such a fast pace. And we want to say that that's why we burn out, but it's really not true. Because again, challenge yourself. At least 50% of people are doing it and doing it successfully, and they are not burned out. Um, or if you don't challenge yourself, you're just going to continue to play it safe and hold yourself back and live your life in this small little box. But if you are here, you were made for more. And so I want you to get ready to take notes and implement what it is that I'm telling you. Don't just listen to it and get a high off of what I say right now. I want you to take it and implement it into your life so that you can watch the magic unfold. So let's just go through some facts. I think it was a psychologist that first coined the term imposter syndrome in the 70s. And there have been some studies around it that have said that women suffer from imposter syndrome more than men. And of course, these studies are always flawed. And most recent research has proven that that is not true. About 70% of leaders do experience imposter syndrome at some point in time. So you're not alone if you ever have this self doubt. However, men and women experience imposter syndrome pretty much equally. The only difference is that women tend to talk about it more than men do. Men just kind of compartmentalize it and keep it moving. Um, like I said, 100% of us will suffer from imposter syndrome at some point in time. And what I want you to understand, and why now you're starting to see imposter syndrome in quotes, is because I want to normalize what has now become this word that is so dramatic: syndrome. Like there's a sickness or illness or disease. It's not. When we're learning, when we're growing, and when we're moving into unfamiliar territory that we haven't done before or don't have a lot of experience in, it will make you feel off, and that's normal. So if you are thinking that you're going to go for a promotion, or you're going to go and lead a meeting, or you have to speak up and give an idea, and you don't normally do that in your day-to-day life, or do it in the environment that you might have to do it with, the people that you might have to do it with, then of course you are going to feel like this. So I want you to normalize the fact that you have these feelings so that they don't have as much power over you. And it's true that some of us may feel it a little bit deeper than others. And I'll touch on why and give you some tips. But I just want you to understand that by and large, This is normal. And when I'm first working with leaders, what I tend to find is they think that they're the only one that feels that way. And the other people in the room that maybe have been in meetings longer and have more experience in their leadership position, they think that those people don't feel this feeling called imposter syndrome, the self-doubt, the needing to prove yourself and feeling like you don't belong. But we all do, and it's normal. Now, again, there's varying degrees as to how we all feel this feeling and how we react as a result of this feeling. But if you start to dig beneath the surface, what you will see is that it usually stems from a lack of self-love or self-worth. You need to understand the root cause of all this is because I don't think that you necessarily need to go back and you need to fix the past in order to move forward successfully, but you do need to understand that if you want your future to be different, right? Then we have to do things differently. Like Einstein said, instead of doing the same thing over and over again, or bringing these little pieces of our past into our future. So usually part of you doesn't feel worthy. Maybe you don't feel like you deserve the success that you have. Or for a lot of us, what we tend to do is look at ourselves through this flawed lens of who we think we are or what we think we deserve. So if that lens is flawed, we are looking at ourselves through our mistakes and through our past and through our childhood and all the things that we went through, and we think we don't deserve more. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how much you accomplish. Anything beyond what you see of your flawed vision of yourself is going to feel fake and flawed because you don't see yourself for who you truly are. I want you to let that sink in. And here's an important part to start to move past that. You have to learn to give yourself permission for things to be good enough. Because if you're looking at yourself from this flawed lens, and no matter how hard you try, because you're not looking at things accurately, you're going to never see yourself the way you truly are. Then, in order for you to first take that step forward, you're going to have to give yourself permission for things to be good enough. So then it's about switching your values too, right? From valuing external rewards, trophies, praise, perfection, because a lot of why we want the external rewards and the trophies and the praise and the perfection is, yes, partly because that's the way our society, school systems and things are set up. But it's also because if you look back at your self-worth and your conditioning and your childhood and all of that, for some of us, if there's abandonment issues or if there's certain behavior that was rewarded or not rewarded, then we're going to look for these external cues to make us feel better about ourselves. And you have to learn to set that reward system and bring it more internal, and to learn what you value most, and to show up as your authentic self. This is deep right here. This is another part where you might want to take notes. So show up as your authentic self, not as a trained mechanism that you've developed to want to appear as your unattainable self, the perfect self that came about as a result of that conditioning from that education, society, family, culture, what have you, right? So we have this picture of who we think we should be. We show up inauthentic because we want everybody else to see us that way. However, because we have this flawed lens, we can't even see ourselves that way anyway. So, in order for you to start to really get to the heart of the matter about the things that are holding you back in your mindset and the self doubt and the fear and the anxiety and being on that hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over again, you have to start to ask yourself, who are you really? Not who people told you to be, not who you were trained to be, not who you think you should be. What do you stand for? And for those of us that went to school and did all of this work, what was the work for? Was it for you? Was it to make a difference? Was it to make an impact? Was it because you thought that's what you should do? Was it a financial reason? Was it because people told you to do it? And why do you matter? Because look around you, there's nobody that's perfect. So when you start to really turn inward and really know yourself and what you value and what's authentic to you and show up in that way, what would happen if you just showed up as the person who valued being authentic over living for the values of others? When I'm giving you these little gems, and remember I said there are 50% of people that are able to just step up, be successful, overcome all of this mindset stuff that they have. They have it just like you do, but they're still able to push and move forward. I want you to understand too that these tips are showing you how they also think differently. So a lot of us that are successful and moving forward and crushing our goals is because we know who we are. And even though we're maybe not perfect, or even though we feel these feelings deep inside, we still value being authentic, being ourselves. Hey, this is me. This is what you're going to get. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to have to work it out, but I'm still going to show up. So that's another hint too, if it makes it easier for you to look at it that way. There is an exception that does stem from not knowing yourself. And if you've downloaded our ebook called The Top 5 Mistakes That Leaders in Healthcare Make and How to Fix It, then you would have learned about the Peter Principle. I find that this often happens in smaller organizations, and it also happens to people that have been in a particular organization for a very long time. And this is a theory that also, I think it came about in the 70s. They studied it, where employees in an organization advance to their highest level of competence and then continue to get promoted until they get to a level at which they are incompetent. So and if you don't know yourself, you don't know your values, you don't know what you stand for, you don't know why you picked the job that you have, but you find that you're struggling, even though you keep getting promoted. A lot of times we get promoted in organizations just because we're smart and we did our previous job well, right? So smart, did our previous job well, promoted. Smart, previous job well, promoted. And this continues because you did your previous job well, but eventually you get to this area where the competencies that you need to perform have to do with growth, not what you did in your previous position. And so you end up getting promoted to this area where you start to fail. And I've worked with leaders that I've had to help coach and mentor. Some of them, unfortunately, ended up losing their job because they just went along with this little, okay, yeah, I'll take the job. I'll keep getting promoted. I'll keep doing it, not understanding that it's not always about what you already know. That's just something to build on. But at some point, if you're just moving along in your career as a leader without doing it in an intentional way, there is a part of you that may reach a ceiling where you do feel incompetent and you truly are incompetent. So I just wanted to throw that out there so you can understand that if this has happened to you, then you may need to go back and fix this problem. If you've just kind of been haphazardly promoted and now you find yourself in a position where you have to try to figure it out for yourself, and it doesn't feel as easy as the previous things that you've been successful in. All right, so more internal psychology. You could be punishing yourself with a fake view of perfectionism and your perfect self that's impossible to attain. And like I already said, nothing will ever be good enough. But since you can't reach the level of the perfectionist person, your ideal self that you have created in your mind, then you feel fake, you feel unworthy, and you don't feel good enough as well. So you don't give your permission to move forward. So this is important too. If you think you need to be perfect and you need to be on 10, and you know that perfect and on 10 is never going to happen, then you have these standards that don't even make sense for life, but yet you continue to hold yourself to them. Therefore, you don't, give yourself permission to move forward. So the first step for moving forward in that situation is, again, giving yourself permission for things to be good enough. Because what we all think that we need is confidence. And imposter syndrome, unfortunately, stems from this misidentification of what it means to be confident. We're stepping up in these different levels, as you can see in the slide. In these different levels, you're going to be required to stretch and grow, whether it's in your professional career, your leadership, right? Some of us are needing to stretch and grow in our relationships, all of the things. But we mistakenly think that confidence means that you have the confidence and you walk into the next step with the confidence, even though you're walking into something you've never done before. And that is not how confidence works. So we spend an exorbitant amount of time trying to work on our confidence so that we can take the next step. And it's backwards. And you probably have wasted a lot of time because you don't feel confident enough to move forward to the next step. So I want you to understand what confidence really means. And it's not about being all knowing or all being. True confidence stems from number one, your ability to figure things out. And in this day and age, I think we all know how to Google stuff and find the information we need or ask the people that we need in order to figure it out. So that's number one. And then number two, confidence stems from trying things over and over again until a level of competency is formed. That is how you gain confidence. If you have the right tools and the right support, could you figure it out? For those of you that have kids, when they start to walk, they don't start off just like, hey, I got this, I'm gonna walk. No, they have the gumption to try it, but they fall. They keep getting up. They try it over and over. They figure it out. Maybe I'll hold onto the table for a little bit, then I'll try it. It is no different, but for some reason, as adults, we seem to have forgotten what it truly takes to gain confidence. And we automatically think off the jump, we should be confident in everything. And it's just not true. So here's the gut check for you to understand too. If you're being too hard on yourself and you have the tools you need to either find the information you need or figure it out, what is your track record, right? What is your experience? Give yourself credit. Have you given yourself credit? How far have you come? Because that is actually your stepping stone for you to be able to draw on, to be able to move to the next step and grow in new roles, new experiences, new relationships, changing your life, whatever it is that you are trying to work on. Do you have a proven track record? And I don't care if you are hard on yourself about one particular thing in your life. Maybe your relationships are not on point, or maybe your career is not where you want it. Sometimes we pick a little piece of ourselves and we tear ourselves apart. And really, what you need to look at is yourself as a whole. And we've all, at this time in our life, have probably overcome challenges and situations and gotten degrees and really come a very long way, but haven't given ourselves enough credit that we are able to figure it out. So, therefore, by and large, we do have a proven track record. It doesn't matter what you call this solution for this doubt and these feelings that hold you back from being successful. It's all the same. The solution is all the same. It's not trying to get your staff and your team to do this or do that. And it's not about learning how to organize yourself or time management. Those are small pieces of the puzzle. What it truly requires is you to change and challenge your thoughts and your paradigms by having conscious control over your thoughts and your emotions, about being intentional. So if you're not doing that, anything other than that is just self-sabotage. You sabotage yourself, you hold yourself back, you don't grow, you don't change, you live every day the same day over and over. Or maybe even though you set goals, you look back at the last year, things are happening over and over, the same month. You just nothing ever changes. And why does this happen? It's not because you don't want deep down inside to have a better career, a better life, to have things flow, to be more in balance, to have things be easier. It's actually because you lack a self-awareness about how your mind works and why it's doing this to you. And if you can understand that, that is like the biggest piece of the puzzle. But for most of us, we haven't been taught to do this. And so we think that the things that we think are part of us. And so we don't have the confidence, and we let that voice tell us, these untruths about ourselves. And so we retreat and we go back into our comfort zone. And then we justify why you didn't take the promotion. Some of us, we lie, right? We don't think that we're worthy of the things that we truly want when we go to bed, when nobody's around us, and we're thinking about the life that we really want versus where we're living. So we act like we don't want it. We act like it's stupid. I don't want to be blah, blah, because she works too hard. Or I don't want to do this because it costs too much, or it's stupid. Or people that want this, they're dumb. Like we do this all the time. We justify our reasons for not stepping out of our comfort zone. It's too hard. I'm too busy. There's not enough time. When I try, it doesn't work. It's not the right solution. Or maybe for some of you that have tried over and over and failed, you think that you're a lost cause. It just goes on and on and on, this voice, this cycle, right? But in fact, none of it is true. You are your only limit when this is happening. And you have to keep going no matter what. Fear and growth are partners. Fear and growth are partners. When you're growing, it's going to feel scary. When you're stepping out of your comfort zone, it's going to feel scary. So fear will never go away. So you can't let the thoughts that are bringing up that fear and that anxiety and telling you you're not good enough, you can't let them sabotage you because they're partners. Don't let anything get in the way of you implementing your new you. You will always feel these challenges. In fact, I can go deep into psychology, but that would be a whole nother class on the biological changes that have to happen before you can overcome this fear and this growth in your new challenges. There's proven science that can help you understand this. But until you understand this, you have to move forward. And so the question will be, will you fold and go back to your comfort zone, or will you move forward? This diagram sums up a lot of what successful people have learned how to do. So I want you to burn this image into your brain, because one way that you self-sabotage is by having these negative thoughts that then cause you to be emotionally involved with the negative thought, because you think, and we've been taught that all of these thoughts are really us. Like if we think it's hard, it's too much, we're a failure, blah, blah, blah. We think that our thoughts are us. And I want you to think of yourself here in observer mode, because you've done this before. Your thoughts are not you. This is deep. I'm going to try to say it slow. If you want more information about this after I get done talking about it, read The Power of Now on our YouTube channel. It's under my name, Yashika Lind. We did a whole summer series on the power of now. But if you understand this, this is one of the first things that'll help you start to create that disconnection from these negative thoughts. So observer mode is when you understand, yes, these thoughts are happening. They are true. You hear them. I'm not saying that they're not there. However, instead of you getting emotionally charged in all of these thoughts, you just observe that the thoughts are happening. Because if you continue to live here, this is a repeatedly negative experience. And pretty soon, negative habits will be expected and formed via this thought process. As an observer, you start to wake up to the knowing of who you are, that your mind is much like a tool that you can pick up and put down. And you can see it, you can look at it, you can say all of these things, yeah, I'm thinking of, but let me just keep it moving. And if you've ever thought that, then you understand that you are not your thoughts. They are just something that's there. Leave a comment in the chat box if you want me to talk more about it. And when we get to the Q&A session, I could try to explain this a little bit deeper, because it's a fairly deep topic that you absolutely need to know to be the observer of your thoughts and not get caught up in them and think that they're real and think that they're true and let them hold you back because you get emotionally charged and then you behave in a certain way. You have a certain attitude. Anyway. So Are you scattered or are you reacting? This is about being a mindful leader. Some people are going around with leadership with their mind full of junk. That's not helpful. And then there are successful leaders in all areas of their life that are going into their life being more mindful. Are you scattered? Are you reacting? Which means that all those thoughts, you think they're real, they get you charged up, they impact how you show up in the world where you're not being your best self. What did you want? Do you have a plan? Do you have a plan for your career? Do you have a plan for your life? All of these things. It's a lot of questions. It can feel overwhelming, but at the end of the day, the biggest question that could probably help you, not only with the diagram I just showed you about being an observer, but it's also about, are you living with intention? Because what I find is that when people think that their thoughts are real, they and just kind of go with that kind of flow and don't have any intention behind what it is that they want, whether it be how do you want the day to be, how do you want to be that day, what do you want to get done that day, all of the things. You just go with the flow, which is very reactionary because you end up being a slave to what you're served, right? Instead of developing intention and inner certainty. So again, who do you want to be? Set your intention because the choice is always yours. I want to break this down very briefly, just a little bit here. So when I'm saying that you are a slave to what's served, I want you to think about it. Maybe in your relationships, you, and I don't mean intimate, but intimate, family, whatever, however people come to you, you feed off of whatever it is they're giving you instead of being your steady, rock solid, ideal self. Or maybe in your career, instead of you, first of all, understanding what kind of career do you want? Where do you want to be in 5 years and 10 years and 20 years? Did you go to school because you wanted to, or because other people said, or that was the right thing to do? Like the intention starts moment to moment to moment. But let's just break it down on a day. When you wake up in the morning, do you say, who do I want to be today? Do I want to be somebody that can let things roll off my back? Do I want to be somebody that's motivated? Do I want to be somebody that is cheerful and energetic? Because that's the first intention you set, right? And that way, when you walk into work, it doesn't matter what people are throwing at you if you are able to set the intention for who you want to be, because you have control over that. You're going to see that the rest of your world unfolds in a very different way because of the choice that you made to be intent, to have intent, to be in, to have intentions. Um, so again, it comes back to that question: who do you want to be? Are you planning? Are you prepared? I want to share with you this book, not because I recommend this book, but because when I first, so a lot of times in my leadership career, there were times when I led people, but there were times when I was more like in a leadership independent consulting type of role. Now, there was a role that I had to take on, and they asked me to step in as the leader. And it was something that was totally new for this particular organization. And so I had to start something from the ground up. And I was freaking out, right? I didn't know, I had never done it before. They were kind of failing because they didn't have the structure that they needed to be successful. So, you know how some of you may have felt this: you go into a team and the team is already flailing, and you have to try to work with people that aren't moving in the direction that you would. They don't have the same work ethic as you, right? So, getting myself worked up, I heard about this book called The First 90 Days, and I read the book. The book goes through this whole strategy about setting up what you want to do so you can make this big impact in the first 90 days. The reason why I'm showing you this book is not because I recommend it as a good book. For some type of careers, yes, it's going to be a good book. Do I think it's very applicable in healthcare? Not necessarily. But the reason why I'm showing you this book is because, let's take it back to our previous slide. It gave me a sense of intention, because instead of walking into the department blind and just kind of flailing and feeling nervous and feeling fearful and doubting myself about if I could do a good job, inherently by working through this book, it made me be a little bit intentional because it was a plan that helped you map out 90 days. So what did that do for me? That at least gave me the the structure and the confidence to show up knowing that I could step in with a plan, or it made me feel a little bit more at ease about what I was doing. And again, it's not about the book, it's about the intention, because at least I planned and I prepared. Did it look exactly like the book said? No. But does this absolutely help make things easier to be intentional, plan, prepare, not be scattered, not be somebody that's reactionary? Absolutely. So stop showing up in your life randomly. You get to control. You get to have a plan that you act out, and then take some time for self reflection to see if it worked out for you, and then act, and then continue this cycle through self audits and treating your life like an experiment. If things aren't working, again, if you keep doing the same stuff over and over, guess what? If it's not working, it's just going to not work even more and you're going to be exhausted. So, how can you adjust? What do you need to check? What can you learn? Stop going through your days and weeks blindly and learn how to be a learner of your own life, not only your team, not only your career, but your whole life, versus judging the outcomes that you get and then stopping from there, because that's not how life works. Or for some of you, comparing apples to oranges, right? You don't feel good enough. You don't feel confident. You don't let yourself grow and stretch in life because you are comparing yourself to people maybe that have a different path than you, different strengths than you, different experiences than you, which means they're going to come with a different skill set than you come with. Does that mean that they're better than you? No, it means that they're different. And growth and value in organizations comes from people being different and being diverse. For those of you that are just hopping on, I'm going to do a Q&A at the end. So if you start to have any questions, please pop them in the chat box. Another thing that gets in the way is copying, right? And I talked about this a little bit before, but imposter syndrome can have you copying people, or you can get this imposter syndrome from copying people. Number one, because you show up as not your authentic self. And so you are never in alignment with the highest potential of you that you could be, because you're trying to be somebody else, which always feels like a fake, which always feels like a fraud, which is always going to feel like somebody's going to find out one day because you're not being authentic. And also copying off of other people is not you adding your unique talents, your unique value, your unique energy into the world, into your career, into your team that we were all put on this earth to give. And so, are you wasting your time comparing, copying, and all these things? Or here's a big one. This is another one you may want to let sink in. Are you wasting your time asking if you belong or if you're adding value? Or excuse me, or are you adding value? So this is what I see as well too. A lot of information, ladies. So a lot of times what I'll see is the people that are spending their time in meetings thinking about how they look and how they sound, and if people are judging them, or if they belong, or if they're fraud and all that stuff, guess what they're not doing? They aren't adding value. You, in this day and age, needs to be adding value to whatever it is that you choose to participate in, both professionally and personally. Things should be better as a result of your energy being involved in them. And if they're not, then you're wasting your time and you're wasting other people's time. If you spend the majority of your time when you could be adding value, thinking about yourself and how you look and how you sound and how you feel, then you probably are not adding value. And I got this point a long time ago from Brendan.com. And what he said basically, and what I've learned in coaching other leaders, is when you are comparing and copying and wondering if you are good enough, then you are actually wasting your energy and focus on yourself. You're thinking about yourself, you're making it about you versus adding value. and receiving what comes from that value. So I want you to think about when you're going through your day to day, how self absorbed your approach may be, especially if you're someone that is not an observer of your thoughts. You are your thoughts. You identify with your thoughts. You let them move you and cause you to act in certain ways. Think about how self absorbed your approach may be. And if you're a leader, particularly because leadership is not about being self absorbed, are you thinking about yourself, or are you thinking about doing a good job and getting better every day? The truth is that most people, this is everybody. Everybody wants the money, they want the promotion, they want the recognition, all of the things, but most people are not adding value. And if you focus on adding value in your authentic way, not how others are doing things or how you think society wants you to be, I guarantee, number one, that imposter syndrome feeling will start to fade. And number two, you will excel in your career just by the very fact that most people are not focused on adding value in an authentic way. So you already are going to set yourself apart from other leaders, other departments, other organizations, other companies, other all of this. If you're girlfriend, wife, whatever it is that you are trying to work on, you're going to set yourself apart if you are continuously trying to add value. The other thing that I want to touch on is to stop avoiding hard things and staying comfortable. Because again, when we talked about confidence earlier, we see how that holds us back from doing the things that we need to do to get better in life. So you either are growing every day or you're staying the same or in a comfort zone, right? And if you are in the comfort zone, and you're staying the same, then technically you're getting worse, because the whole world is just going to continue to evolve without you. Your career, the people that you're with, for better, for worse, healthcare, all of it is just going to continue to move on. And because you stay the same while everything is moving forward, you end up getting further and further away from that evolution. And guess what that becomes? And you probably notice this in some area of your life where you continue to stay comfortable and it continues to bite you in the butt. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where you end up, for lack of a better word, you just end up sucking in life because you lack growth and you lack momentum. And this also generates that imposter syndrome feeling of being fake, because you stay stuck when you really want to um, achieve great things, but you don't give yourself that opportunity and you never go all in on anything. So I'm saying this to you to understand that you are part of this self-fulfilling prophecy when you actually see confirmation that you were right, because you are going to be right if you don't move out of your comfort zone and you don't grow and you don't stretch. You think that you're going to fail, or you think that you're not smart enough. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because everything else moves forward and you stay the same, which is getting worse. So what do you think? You showed up today because some of you may feel like a fluke, or feel like you're not qualified, either qualified for where you are right now or qualified to want more out of life. You don't feel worthy of wanting or having more in life. Or maybe you just feel like you don't know what you're doing. And whenever you do have good things, you don't give yourself credit. You just say that it was lucky. Or maybe you feel like you don't deserve good things. And if you do have them, you're so scared that you didn't earn them that you feel like they could just be taken away at any moment. And then I see a lot of you not taking risks or not going all in on anything. So you live life in your comfort zone and you continue to stay small. And I want you, from all of the stuff that I just taught you, I want you to understand that it's time for you to adopt the tools and knowledge that you need to step into the life that you've worked so hard for, and continue to work towards the growth and expansion that you deserve, so that things aren't moving forward while you're not evolving, which inherently means that you're actually getting worse. You can have all these tools, all these things, these knowledge, all packaged for you in a framework, because a framework, it's been proven that there's certain things that works if you want to be successful. And there's some of you that are going to be watching this or watching the replay that have studied with me for a very long time. Some of you I've coached, and if you move forward, then you probably got the tools and the framework you needed. And if you haven't, then you probably haven't done any of the work that I'm talking about. And there is an answer to where you can get the support and the mentoring that you need to take the guesswork out of trying to implement these tools and finding this knowledge on your own and struggling and, again, floundering and giving up on yourself because it's not working when you try to do it for yourself. Today is your day. It's your time. The strategies that I've shared with you today are based on actual knowledge, and they work. And I've implemented these and shared these with other people just like you to help them overcome fear, anxiety, and doubt that gets in the way of you living and experiencing a better life, a less stressful career, more money, which when you look back on your career and on your life, these promotions and getting what you're worth is also something that financially impacts not only you, but the people that you love. And these people that I've been able to teach, it's not because they're more special than you. It's because all of us that are doing it right, that aren't struggling, that are getting what we want out of life, is because we work within a system of knowledge and tools and skills that work. And if we can all do it, they can do it. I've taught them to do it, then you can do it too. So do you want to learn how to be more confident and authentic and not let that negativity hold you back, and do it in a container where you can get support? If so, then I have a new mentorship that I want to tell you about. It's a complete blueprint of how to create a mindset of a leader. And again, a leader is not just when you go to work and you lead. A leader is you having the confidence that you need to be successful in all areas of your life, because you learn how to rewire your mind and to overcome those feelings of self-doubt and to feel better about yourself and your career. And in this mentorship, you need to imagine it's not like me telling you, like I told you today, and then you go and you try to do it yourself and it doesn't work. This is 8 weeks of having high value lessons and access to coaching and mentorship to help you move forward and help you do it in a way that is easier and that is less stressful. And within this container, you get to learn my proven strategies that'll help you to reboot your mind. So if you tried it in the past and it didn't work, you probably tried it by yourself and you probably didn't know some of the things that you learned today. So reboot your mind and teach you how to own your future, how to overcome those feelings of self-doubt and not feeling like you deserve your success. You get to learn how to start to feel better about yourself with improved outlook and more confidence. You get to have better performance, increase your confidence, and create more opportunities. And remember, I said these opportunities, while as leading in healthcare mentorship, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. You are a leader in all areas of your life, in your relationships, your spirituality, your connection with yourself, your job, your career, your finances, all of that. These tools that you learn can translate to every area of your life. And what you get with this is you get 8 weeks of access and mentorship support via weekly coaching. And then even though it's in a small group, what I like about what I've created is that there's what's called hot seats. And so you get opportunities to ask the questions that you need to ask to get help on the things that you're struggling with. And also, there's an intake survey that you fill out when you join the mentorship. And so that helps me understand where the group is at. So we can also tailor some of our discussions to what you personally need work on. But you're going to find that for some reason, it's not a coincidence. I don't believe in that. But a lot of people that come together in containers like these, they're all in some way, shape, or form needing to be together. It just kind of happens serendipitously. All right, so you get 8 weeks of the coaching support. You get online lessons designed to teach you exactly what you need to help you overcome these feelings that we've talked about. Also, you get bonus training, like I said, that are tailored specifically to the needs of the individuals in the group, and resources and cheat sheets and bonuses, because For some of you, even though I keep telling you that 99% of the success that you experience in your life is around mindset and understanding how your mind really works, you're going to still think, well, I don't know how to set goals or manage my time or be organized. So there are some bonus trainings for that as well that you can access. And then for some of you, you're going to say, because I'm like this, I've done group coaching and I like it, but then I always pay for the upgrade to get private coaching because I want attention on my stuff so I can level up faster. And so there is $1,000 off of the one-on-one coaching as well. And if you sign up within the first 24 hours, so even if you don't pick the one-on-one part of the package of the mentorship, you still, if you sign up within the first 24 hours, you get to receive a free strategy session with me. And if you don't know, okay. And if you don't know what the strategy session is, what that is 30 minutes is enough time that if you have one particular thing that you feel stuck on, we can talk about it together and kind of take some time to get you unstuck. So that's what that's all about. All right, hold on. All right. So in the first 24 hours, if you join the mentorship, you get a private session with me to kind of help you with what it is that you are dealing with. So are you ready to get the support you need and improve your satisfaction in your life and in your career? And I know you want to know, how much does it cost? So the total value is almost $10,000. Again, this is not a made up figure. There are plenty of people that know me and have worked with me in different containers, so they know how much my coaching costs. But the investment for this particular new mentorship is only $333 today, and that'll get you on the installment plan. And if you want to pay in full, you actually save quite a bit of money to pay in full. And just wanted to reiterate $333 just to get you started today. The mentorship actually starts on September 12th. So you have all the way to get through like your Labor Day holiday and everything. And then we start that Monday, September the 12th. So 24 hours, you get the bonus, you get the free coaching session. If you want to sign up for the mentorship, you can go here. And I will also, once I stop sharing my screen, I'll make sure to drop this in the chat box for you as well. You get a guarantee as well, because I know that for some of you that have struggled to try to do things on their own, when you make the decision to invest in yourself, it can be scary. I've done it before. I've invested 6 figures in working with mentors to get to the level that I am today. And every time I do it, it always feels scary. And you always want to know, is it going to be worth it? Are things really going to change? And right, part of it is the work that you do, but you also want to be confident that the person that you're working with knows what they're doing. And so you do get a no risk money back guarantee. So within the first couple of modules in 2 weeks, if you're doing the work and you show me that you're doing the work and you still are not satisfied, then you gladly will get a refund. So you don't have a risk to any of this. You can go ahead and get started. Again, those are the investment opportunities that are available for you to get started. Remember, if you do it within 24 hours, you get free coaching. So that also gives you a big value. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I want to see questions because this is a lot. This was a lot of information. The link is in the chat box to sign up for the mentorship. If you find that you do have questions after we are done, then you can write down my email address. I read my own emails. I will respond to you promptly. My email address is yashika@thelindgroupllc.com. And I'll type that in the chat quickly. And then I will go ahead and end this, so you guys can check out the mentorship, sign up for it so you can get your free coaching session. And then we will get started here shortly. Uh-oh, that's not right. Bye.